would technically be methanoic acid if we use the IUPAC naming, but its shorthand form, the one we know, would be acetic acid. I just want to throw that in there because that was tied into what we were addressing earlier in regards to like the official name versus also name they've coined. What is the role of phosphate buffer system in the body? Oh, this number 4, this number 5. This number 5, okay. Role of phosphate buffer in body. So, this is a very good question. Its role is pretty much to keep the pH at certain levels. Sorry, not question mark. What levels you're probably asking? Okay, we're actually going to refer to our acid and bases sheet, and we're going to look for phosphate, or yeah, phosphoric acid. So this will be the last set of phosphoric acid. We want the first one, H3PO4. There we go. H3PO4. So this is one of them, and the other one, phosphoric acid, which is H2PO4, is there, and phosphoric, the last one where it's now HPO4, okay, that one is also here. So with this, if I remember correctly, the phosphorus that we're dealing in our body is usually between these H2PO4 minus and HPO4 2 minus. Reason why I write that is because if I remember correctly, we want our body to stay around almost a neutral-ish, maybe, yeah, around a neutral-ish pH. If you look at H3PO4, okay, to H2PO4 minus, that'd be the transition. This buffer system here, based on this, will be based on the pKa. So you see here, we have H3PO4, its conjugate base is H2PO4, and its pKa, which kind of tells you what pH range it will be when it's a buffer system, is 2.12. And I can tell you, as a matter of fact, if our system was stuck at that, we would die. A lot of the stuff, especially when it comes to our stomach and digestion, we do need a mixture of like acids and bases. That's why, you even have acid reflux when it comes to the stomach, because our esophagus, okay, is lined to where, it's trying to protect us with like mucus. But the point being is, if you have too much acid reflux, aka stuff from the stomach bubbling and spilling back up, it's a much higher concentrated pH, literally burning us. And that's not even that significant. It'd be like around like maybe what, pH of 5. So you can imagine what this would do. 2.12. Yeah, it would literally burn a hole through our stomach. But H2PO4 to HPO4, that buffer range, okay, if you look at it based on this pKa, we have 7.21. That sounds a lot nicer. So this would be our phosphate buffer system in our body, and just as how the pKa shows, it kind of keeps it at this level. We have I wish I knew the name off the top of my head. There's phosphoric acid, and then there's dihydrogen phosphate. I do believe that's what it's called, and this would be hydrogen phosphate, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, so that's the pH we were kind of looking for. And out of curiosity, the last phosphoric acid, when it gets rid of its last hydrogen to just PO4 3 minus, that's when we're approaching very dangerous pH levels in the basic side. We have 12.32 about range to 12.66. That's what it's saying. So yeah, no, we do not want this. We don't want it to be acidic. This is kind of like the nice middle ground phosphate buffer in our body. And it's actually pretty easy to make this buffer in real life as well. If you have exactly sodium dihydrogen phosphate, so NaH2PO4, that's how it'll be written, and then you mixed it with moles of sodium hydrogen phosphate, which is NH2HPO4, that would actually create this buffer system here, close to a pH of 7.21. Let me just check. Sodium dihydrogen. Yep. And monosodium phosphate. I don't like that name, but yes, it's still there. NaH2PO4 and sodium hydrogen phosphate, disodium phosphate. Still don't like that name, but yes, Na2HPO4. Perfect. So, with that being said, dihydrogen phosphate ions, awesome, and hydrogen phosphate ion as an ion acceptor. So exactly, we have our conjugate acid and conjugate base correctly identified to get that pH of around 7.21. And yeah, additional hydroxide is neutralized, so additional base is neutralized by our acid component, and excess acid is neutralized by our basic component. Hence how we're able to kind of keep it at that pH. Okay, and that's also why, like, if you drink like too much, let's say like orange juice, for example, it comes to the point where you start feeling sickly because of the fact that, like, that's an overload of acidity, and your body doesn't like that. It can only, I guess, supplement so much of this in terms of phosphate buffer to where it can keep your body around that pH, and you can overdo it, so please don't. So with that being said, exactly, phosphate buffers are widely used, which is, I said, that you can literally make them because they kind of mimic the human body, which is what a lot of researchers want to do. So this is correct. Let's move on to the next question. Question 6.